So a few interesting 40k releases last week and this. The Cadian Kasrkin are hitting the shelves before the Guard Codex, there's some more details on the new Necrons, plus Bayard's Revenge and a new Old Lamb Raider. Hello and welcome back to Warspets Tactics, where today we're doing a quick roundup of the 40k releases, and in particular taking a better look at the Cadian Kasrkin sprues, which Games Workshop have shown off to us, including plenty of their options. There's been a slow trickle of 40k releases coming out. I think there's quite a few collectors out there that are still waiting for the Leagues of Votann to materialise in full. I've heard that they're going to be a two-wave release over the next couple of weeks after this one. It does appear that the Kasrkin and the Necrons are beating them to the mark. The big model kit that goes up for pre-order this weekend is that Kill Team Shadowvaults one. Kind of surprising that that's quite such a short gap between the Warhammer Day reveal and it actually going on sale. There does seem to be a fairly short lag time for certain Kill Team releases. If you are desperate to get your hands on the new Kasrkin and Necron kit, then that will be £110, €145 or $185, kind of in line with the previous Kill Team releases, and that'll get you the Necron Hierotek Circle, 10 Cadian Kasrkin, and the Space Hulk terrain with that heavy bolter turrets and little crane cutter thing. In all honesty, unless you really quite want the terrain or both sets of models, it does seem a bit on the pricey side. I've got no doubt that plenty of people will be buying it to split up on eBay though, so that might genuinely be one of the most efficient ways to get your hands on Kasrkin or Necrons if you did want them. Games Workshop will release both of them individually in time. I suspect that the kill teams will be somewhere in the region of £35 to £40, maybe $60 to $65, though it could be a good few months before that happens. Earlier today, Games Workshop did give us a good few more details on the Kasrkin kit, including this rather nice picture of all of them ranked up. They even were rather generous and showed off all the sprues and the options in the kit, which is quite nice and quite helpful for people who are thinking about picking them up. In general, they seem to have gone down pretty well with the internet community at large. It does seem to be a pretty solid plastic kit with lots of options. As with quite a lot of Games Workshop's recent releases, the torso and legs of the models basically come together. They are in separate bits, but you match one torso to one set of legs, and then you do have a bit more flexibility as to the arm, heads and backpacks. I think as maybe people have come to expect from these Kill Team releases, there are a very decent amount of options on the frame. There's well over 20 heads to choose from, including the option to field all of them with enclosed helmets if you want to. I feel like quite a lot of people will want to do that, as that was quite in line with the appearance of the original Kasrkin. Otherwise you've got the option of more standard looking Cadian helms and a few other Spec Ops looking ones. Otherwise, perhaps the most interesting options are the various bits of war gear you can give the unit. They do seem to have been rather generous with the special weapons that you can get. They look like there are 2 of every single type of special weapon, including the hotshot volley gun, which they didn't previously have access to. If you don't want any special weapons though, it does also look like there's enough parts to give all of them the hotshot lasguns, and plenty of fun bits of kits to give the sergeant as well, plasma pistols, bolt pistols, power swords and the like. As it's a kill team kit, you do have the option for their various different specialists as well. Some of these do tend to have 40k rules, some of them don't, but it looks like there's one to build the sniper chap on the top left there. A pretty cool guy who's got a demo charge there and what looks like a bomb disposal type jacket. I think it would be very cool if that did get 40k rules. Being able to throw around demo charges is something that Guard were previously able to do in the past. And also a combat medic as well. Sometimes they get in-game rules, such as ignoring the first failed save. As best I can tell, the sniper type guy I think is just a hotshot lasgun with a scope on it. I'm not 100% sure whether or not that might translate into 40k or just be a fancy hotshot. Here's just a quick glance at the sprues for those interested. Looks like it's 10 guys spread across 3 different sprues, really quite densely packed these ones. As it goes, and with quite a lot of these other Kill Team kits, I do feel that Games Workshop have done pretty well on them, and they're going to be a very popular reimagining of a classic model. As I said, I guess probably in the realm of £35 to £40 or $60 to $65. We'll have to wait and see when the standalone box drops. Otherwise, for the Necrons, we have this Hierotek Circle, a pretty weird, complicated and composite unit. It's basically a Technomancer leading a trio of Death Marks, 2 Plasmacytes, and a Prentech and an Immortal Despotech into battle. Lots of stuff going on kill team wise of course. I suspect for 40k you'd probably just field this all as one combined unit. We'll have to see what Games Workshop makes of the datasheet when they do get around to releasing one. For a fair few of these kill teams, the rules have tended to be a little bit more on the tame side, maybe not some of the most optimal units in the army. I feel like this one is probably looking like a bit of a weird composite unit that wants to do various different things at the same time, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. In the Hierotek Circle, there's a Technomancer, the Immortals and Deathmarks kit, and then the upgrade sprue, which now we can actually see the sprue and we've had the models confirmed. It does look like if you want to build the Apprentech and the Immortal Despotech, you will basically need a couple of extra pairs of legs to go onto those, so it means that you're only building 3 Deathmarks otherwise. I guess that's why they were shown off that way in the Warhammer Day previews. Here is the actual upgrade sprue in question. It's a fairly small insert, but I think it's kind of fun to make 2 mini characters plus the 2 plasmacytes. I guess in theory you could maybe try and kit stretch a bit by using some legs from some cheap warriors or something, if you did happen to have a few of those lying around. In any case, I probably would look out on eBay if you really are looking to pick up a Technomancer or Immortals or Deathmarks in the near future. I feel like the Kasrkin are going to be in high demand in that kit, and it might mean that you see some of those models going at lower than normal prices, and this kit even could represent a value saving even when they release it all on its own, in its own Kill Team box set. Definitely one I'd keep an eye on if you were looking to pick up some of those models. Moving on to take a look at a couple more of last week's releases, there's the Warhammer Day commemorative miniature, Bayard's Revenge, a Black Templar Emperor's Champion versus an Orc Nob, and he seems to have the upper hand. This little diorama's £27.50, $45 or €35, pretty much in line with what I might have expected from similar sized character miniatures, and it's perhaps aimed at being a bit more of a display piece than a game piece model, otherwise he'd be lugging around an orc wherever he went. The kit comes with a fun little alternative head. It is a limited edition miniature for Warhammer Day, so is only available until the 24th of October. I do wonder whether or not Games Workshop might be running low on supply of these, as they do have a warning on their website saying that it might take anywhere up to 180 days to dispatch. I don't know if they're just being cautious there. The miniature does seem to be available at third-party retailers at a discount as well, but I saw at least one warning on one of those saying that they're not expecting to be able to dispatch it until December when Games Workshop restocks them. Might just be something that's worth bearing in mind if ordering. It might be a bit of a wait. Finally, last but not least, we have the Land Raider Proteus, the classic retro Land Raider that they previewed for the Horus Heresy a little while back, and this one's £52.50, $85 or €67.50. It's basically the same as a standard Land Raider in price, and it does have an older and chunkier retro aesthetic, which some people like, but some people really aren't fans of. In terms of options and choices, it is at least fairly fun and flexible. It's got a good deal of hull options, with the choice to take twin las cannons, heavy bolters, and heavy flamers, as well as the option to trade out the front dozer blade for an assault ramp, which the previous Land Raider Proteus never had. There's a fair amount of pintle weapons on top as well, and while it is aimed at Heresy, you can still field it in 40k, but the Proteus does have a kind of suboptimal datasheet in the Imperial Armor Compendium, so you'd probably be better off just running it as a standard Land Raider. Overall, I think it's a pretty cool model though. I'm sure at least a fair few people will be looking forward to getting their hands on some retro goodness. So anyway, there's just a quick summary of the week's releases. Let me know what you think of them, and if you're looking to pick any of them up in the near future, and why. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly keep the regular 40k updates coming. I do tend to cover most of Games Workshop's new releases as and when they happen. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page as well, which you can find links down in the video description. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages too, seeing certain videos early, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.